Hi, welcome to Absolutely Fabulous. My name is Gillian Fennell, also known as Station Mum 101. I love everything about agriculture, especially the people and especially communicating about what makes Australian ag so special.
And I'm Katja Williams, a beef, cattle and cropping farmer, and I love all things ag, and I'm also known as the ultimate farm wife. Together, we are absolutely fabulous, and we are talking all things agriculture beyond the headlines.
And we can't wait to give our opinion to you, and we hope you enjoy it.
So let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of Absolutely Fabulous. It's episode 76, and it's a Q&A session. Gillian is here with me. You have been sending in your questions. We are loving receiving them. Please keep them coming. I remind you, we are across all social media platforms. Gillian is the person behind your responses. So make sure you give her a big shout out when sending in your questions. If you're sending them via the email, then that is me. So Gillian, before we jump into Q&A, what's been happening on station this week?
I'm scheduled to head south again very soon. Still tossing up whether I will drive to Coober Pedy and fly or just drive. It all depends on whether I have to pick up shit while I'm down there, how long I'm going to be away. Like the drive to mum and dad's is about 9 hours and then about 3 into Adelaide. So it's not far. It's just a few like good solid podcasts worth. But it's the time factor because like it takes you a whole day to drive down. But again, by the time I drive down to Coober Pedy and fly to Adelaide, a day's just about busted anyway. So, yeah, 6 one, half a dozen the other. Still making plans, still determining what I will actually go to and what I can try and get out of or what I can try and send someone else to on my behalf. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the plane isn't cancelled like it was last time.
Yeah. And that's why it makes me a bit concerned flying Rex because like everyone knows they're in administration or whatever it is at the moment. With the high fuel prices and lack of availability, I'm really worried that they might just go, oh, no, we're not going to fly today just because fuel's too expensive. Mm-hmm. And then you're sort of like, well, I have to drive anyway now. But yeah. What have you been up to?
I am getting ready to come and visit you in Adelaide. It won't be long before we're down there doing our live recording, doing our long lunch. So very excited for that. For those who haven't seen on the socials, Gillian and I are getting together in Adelaide over a long lunch, and we are going to be doing a live recording answering your questions. Gillian, tell us more about the event.
Yep, so it is going to be at the Duke of Brunswick Hotel, which is this most beautiful, charming little pub in near South Terrace in Adelaide. Our friend Alistair recommended it to us, actually. It is just so nice. And for all of you who have dietary restrictions, it is 100% gluten-free. There's not a speck of gluten on the whole premises. And for those of you like me who don't mind a piece of bread every now and again, I had lunch with Alistair there the other day. I could not tell. I literally, like, they invest so much time and energy into making sure that their meals are really nice. I couldn't even tell what had gluten and what was supposed to have gluten and what didn't have it. So, but one thing we are doing, Katja, is we are trying to cook up or trying to create a bespoke non-alcoholic cocktail for our guests to have on arrival. Katja's already put some suggestions up. I will not tolerate anything with a fucking cucumber in it. So
I made that mistake, everyone.
So if you've got an idea or if you would like to put in your suggestions as to and give it a good name too, and that will be part of your ticket price, is a bespoke non-alcoholic cocktail on arrival. Because it is lunchtime and we are aware of the fact that not everyone drinks alcohol, not everyone likes to drink during the day, and some of you still have to drive around the countryside or be responsible for children, so we can't have you getting legless. If you want to get legless, that's your prerogative. The bar will also be open, but you will have to buy your own drinks. But lunch will be laid on and the venue is going to be beautiful. I'm already planning the table decorations. It's going to be like a vintage vibe, florals in the ag fab colorways. It's going to be glorious. So yeah, it's a nice opportunity, I think, because it'll be June, so it'll be nice and cool. So it's a nice opportunity to get dressed up and wear your big scarves and woolen jackets and stuff, because it'll be warm inside the venue, but you can actually, like, all those things that sit in your cupboard for like 11 and a half months of the year, you'll be able to bring them out. So yeah, it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I love that, because I actually bought a jacket down in Adelaide when I was there for my sister's hens party 2.0, and it was freezing and I hadn't packed a jacket, so I bought one while I'm down there, but I don't think I've worn it since. So I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back to Adelaide and wear it to this event.
Yeah, I'm a compulsive shopper, so I've got a lot of stuff that I should probably wear, and usually just end up wearing the same pair of jeans and shirt anyway. I might wear my sparkly boots. We'll see how we go. Really good. It'll be lots of fun. So keep an eye out in your emails. If you've already registered your interest, you will get an email direct, because you'll get the first release. And then tickets that we don't sell via direct release will go on general sale, and just keep an eye on the socials for them to pop up and click on the link and you'll be able to buy. And included in that will be, hopefully, still waiting to hear back from the hotel, but it should be sorted, a link for discounted accommodation at a venue within walking distance of the Duke of Brunswick, and you will be required to give me your clothing size, because a special merch drop will be part of your ticket price as well. So please do that. All right, let's get on with it. What other questions have we got, Katja?
Excellent. The first one is for you, Gillian. It is, why is it important to go and work for someone else who isn't your station? This is from listening to Gillian talk about her son's relocation to a Queensland station instead of working at home on their station.
Well, it's a lot of different reasons. And I think for us, the biggest thing is to see how other people do things in a different scale. So they have like a similar size, like physical size property, give or take, but they have a much bigger crew because they run a slightly different production system, and it's a different ownership structure. So it's a family owned, but it's more of a corporate structure. So seeing how things are done on a different level, probably touch more professionally, to be honest, working underneath that hierarchy. So instead of just answering to dad or granddad, you have the manager, the head stockman, working in teams of different people with different lines of responsibility, which is all important workplace skills to have. Being independent, being responsible for doing your own washing and not doing your own cooking, because they have a cook, obviously, but, looking after your own self, which was a lot of kids, even not in, rural backgrounds, don't experience these days, because they live at home with mum and dad till they're 30. Like, get out. And I do know it's really, really hard to find an affordable rental, but I would have rather lived in a cardboard box under a bridge than stayed in my parents' home for a moment longer than I did when I moved out almost as soon as I finished boarding school. I was gone. But yeah, so it's life skills, it's learning different ways of operating, and also because we've got a very specific sort of structure here where we only do like rangeland beef cattle production. The place where my son's gone to work, they have a lot of different operations. They've got, similar to us, rangelands beef cattle. They've got large cropping blocks. They've got large irrigation where, lots of truck driving and all that sort of stuff. So learning all different aspects of the agricultural industry, how they all intersect. It's like work experience, but he's actually getting paid for it. So yeah, that's why I think it's important. Some people have a different view, obviously. They think it's fine for your kids to come back home. It's different if you've got like an extra house and they have to live by themselves and do their own cooking and cleaning and washing. They still learn to be a fully functioning adult. I have this belief that builds a much better, more well-rounded employee and human being at the end of it if they go and work elsewhere, even if they do intend to return to the family farm. And they pick up new ideas and meet new people. It's like, why do you go backpacking, in your gap year? It's to like go and meet new people and experience new things and learn new things and then bring them home. So yeah, it's like paid version of backpacking.
Yeah, I was going to add networking on that, but also your confidence and your sense of self. Like your sense of self and your confidence within yourself can only grow when you're working out who are you and who are you in different settings, and what are the consistencies and what do you want to try being, because no one knows you. Like if you go into a new business, a new operation, a new state, he's gone to a new state, then no one knows who you are or who you were before. So there's no preconception of you. You can create a new you can trial a new you, and you can see how you feel in different circumstances, and that's only ever going to build confidence in who you are, which will then come back into the family farming business if they choose to come back into the business with that network, with those skills, with that confidence. Amazing stuff to have.
Yeah, and it's also because he's still, like, he's only just turned 20, so still developing that sense of self. So he might go away and work and then come back a totally different person because he's matured and grown without being under the constant scrutiny of his parents and his immediate family. You know, it's really, really hard to try new things, to wear new clothes, to act a certain way when you're like, you've been with people who you've grown up with your whole life, because they go, oh, what are you doing? You're stupid. What are you doing that for? That's not what you do, but you may want to do that. You want to spread your wings and sort of grow and develop as a person, you know. And also, I've always held the idea, especially for people like, you know, us who live in these really remote areas, not that I expect him to come back with a wife or anything, but it's a really good opportunity to meet people, like to have girlfriends or friends or whatever, because it's a really lonely existence on a family-owned and operated farm. Not even just for us. If you're like, you know, if it's just you and Dad doing all the work, you don't get to go to the pub. You don't, because there's no time, there's no space, there's no freedom. Like, the only time you might get away is if you're allowed, like, make it to footy training and to the footy match, and then it's straight back to the tractor or whatever. So to get out and to just be a whole person, and all that encompasses, away from, you know, your mum and dad and grandparents and brothers and sisters and all that sorts of things. You know, you might meet someone special, you might not, but at least you'll, you know, you're having fun, you're building networks and relationships with people, you're making friends. You know, it's all just part of growing up. So I think we need to give our kids also the opportunity to do that without the pressure of just being work all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And in some of my workshops and in the Ultimate Farm Life work that I do, as well as that podcast, is I talk about assumed knowledge. When you grow up on farm, sometimes there is skills, sometimes there is knowledge that isn't transferred between generations because it's assumed that you would always know it because you grew up in it. So learning those skills from someone else or having them pointed out to you is a really good way of doing it. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to do a job. And just because, you know, dad or mum does it that way doesn't mean that it might be the best way to do that job for you. So learning those is incredibly powerful. And I think Gillian's also brought a really good point to the forefront, and that is every operation is different. Every enterprise is different. And what I mean by that is, as she spoke about, different farming systems. So even if you're going from one family farm to another and they both have the same business model or structure, they're doing, you know, the same thing sort of on paper, when it looks like when at the business itself, the relationships are going to be different, the way they communicate is going to be different, and the way they do the tasks is going to be different. Aiming for the same outcome, aiming for the same goals, but the way they're going to do that is really, really different, and that's going to only benefit you by opening your mind up and learning and experiencing that. And there are some things that you can't learn from a textbook or you can't learn from the business documents. You've got to go and actually physically put that into practice in someone else's operation.
Yeah. And you learn your boundaries as well. Like, and you also learn what's appropriate and what's acceptable, because often in family owned operations, we expose, you know, our fellow family members to conditions that are outrageous.
Yeah.
And so you never learn to draw those boundaries, to separate your professional from your personal, all those sorts of things. So it's all these skills that you need to learn. And, you know, truth be told, like my generation and older, we never learnt those skills. So we're probably still perpetuating some of those really bad practices in the workplace. So I'm just really happy that at least one of my kids at the moment's got the opportunity to go away and learn how to be in a professional workplace and how to still have fun and connect with people at work, but still, you know, have those professional boundaries in place and all that sorts of things that you may not have the opportunity to learn when you just stay home.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much for sending in that question. We have another question which has come through, which is, what has been the hardest moment on farm that you wish from other farmers or those in the city to know about? If they knew, how could they help?
Oh, that's a tricky one. What about you, Katja? Like, there's probably a lot of things that have happened on farm that, like, and everyone knows I'm a pretty open book, but I think the worst things that have ever happened on farm, I don't really feel like I'm going to discuss that. And no one can help, I guess. That's a bit dark, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we talk a lot about this in our day-to-day chitty chatter on this podcast, but also it is one of the questions that makes up the Ultimate Farm Wife podcast, my other podcast, when I'm talking to other women and some men who are integrating into or back into a family farming business. And so I do always love a good learning and takeaway. So I should have been more prepped for this question, really. I think overwhelm. I think the mental load. Those two things have really been playing with me in my mind for at least 12 months now. So the mental load is something that I think is underspoken about. And it's underspoken about even in relationships with you and your partner. And I think that communicating that mental load, as well as the jobs that you've got to do for the day, as well as, you know, looking after your family, your farm, everything else, I think it's really important. It's not usually part of the discussion or conversation that people have, especially if you're not doing like a date night or a touch point. A lot of the time you can see the job list. You can talk about the job list if you have a shared calendar, if you have a shared board, if you whatever, however you organize what you've got to get done. But what we don't talk about is that mental load on top of it. And it can really make things isolating and hard and put in physical and mental barriers that then turn into mental health issues or communication issues. So I think they're some of the hardest moments, particularly when you're by yourself, when you're in the middle of nowhere, or when you're finding that people aren't relating to you about the situation and what you're going through. So even if you're not physically isolated, if people aren't relating to you, if they don't understand what you're doing or how you want to do it, these are being really broad, but I think that's really hard and that's really tough. And I think we need to talk about that. I think one way we can try and talk about the mental load a little bit more is by actually talking about the logistics behind a job and decision and breaking those into smaller, more achievable tasks. They're going to help us communicate that, and it's also going to relieve that pressure in your head because you're putting it down and you can see it and someone else can see it and you're like, oh my gosh, that is a lot of steps to do that one job. That's a lot of planning, prep, and post-job. I don't think we talk about post-job often, and we definitely don't allocate enough time to post-job. So that all comes back to that mental load. So I think that's really difficult because we don't talk about it.
I think you've probably touched on something. The mental load that in every woman, wife, mother carries an incredible mental load that a lot of people who aren't wives and mothers can't even begin to conceive. Or even if you're not a wife or a mother, if you're caring for your elderly parents, if you're a carer in any capacity, like the mental load that you carry is no one fully knows how much that you're carrying. And in farming, if you're a wife and mother or carer and you are also working on the farm, the mental load sort of is exacerbated because it's not just the mental load of planning in your head, like steps to do this job and get dinner cooked and, you know, pay these bills and all this sort of stuff. Every time your husband or partner leaves the house, there is a chance that they will not come back.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that we carry with us subconsciously all day, every day, because we know how risky our job is. Agriculture is very, very dangerous. It is one of the most dangerous occupations in the world. And between the heavy machinery and the ATVs and the side-by-sides and the horses and the livestock and everything else, the power lines, aircraft, the risk is just compounded. And then when you add to that things like seasonal conditions, poor markets, all those sorts of things. And when we do, like, because we're told constantly in agriculture, you just need to share your story more, build empathy, from the urban people. And when we do start to share, what our challenges are, oh, well, you should have a farm management deposit, or, all of a sudden you're a bad business person because of circumstances that are out of your control. We saw this in South Australia. Like, people were saying, oh, you should have set aside some money for the drought. And I had really switched on good operators say to me, we have in our silos 2 years worth of grain that we can use to reseed, that, we've got storage of diesel, we've got capacity. And they said by year 4, start of year 4, they said all that was gone. Every bit of savings we had was gone. There are some things that you cannot plan for. And when you sort of raise your hand and you say, oh, actually, maybe we need some different policy settings or some different levers to pull to sort of make this sustainable, you get told by not even well-meaning people who just think that you're just a whinging farmer and we're all out here driving around our really flash cars and we're just looking for a handout. And that's another thing that you carry with you. You carry that all day, every day. Like, you don't want to be appreciated. I don't want people to say thank you to me when I go down to the supermarket. But when I speak on issues that are directly relevant to my industry and how it impacts my people, I expect the courtesy of being listened to and acknowledged as actually talking sense. Because I'm not out here talking shit. And just being dismissed, like, from top to bottom by people with not even vested interest. They just don't know, but they also don't want to know. So if you want to help, next time someone from agriculture, from farming, speaks on an issue that's directly relevant to them and their families and their communities and their industry, and someone says, oh, whinging farmers, tell them to shut the fuck up. They don't know what they're talking about. Because they don't know what they're talking about. And that's the thing. But people still listen to people who don't know what they're saying. And the real experts in any sort of, discussion around agriculture and that, oh, well, you've just got a vested interest. You're just trying to make more money and you just want a handout from the government. It's like, yeah, I have a vested interest in keeping my family home, over a roof over my head and food on my table. Of course I do. You don't see union organisers being told they have a vested interest every time they want to have a bloody protest or do something. It's like, the union organisers especially, they have never struck a blow in their whole lives. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, don't bring your double standards to me. I can't tolerate it. And that's one of the other things that we carry, especially when times get tough. But I think it is getting better. I hope it's getting better. Yeah.
Our friend Katie O'Brien, who is also a committee member on the Harvest Her Power conference panel, non-for-profit that I founded and ran, and Gillian is also on the committee. She runs a Check-in Tuesday page. It's a great reminder to check in with your friends, your family, and those in the farming community to just see how they are all going, because sometimes it does make a big difference, whether it's a text message saying that, you're thinking of them, or it's an actual call that you have made time for, because there's a big difference between when someone calls you because they have a minute or two here and who makes time for you, and you can tell that in their communication and how much they are willing to deep dive in with you on just listening about how good or how crappy things are. So yeah, reach out. Actually reach out to your friends and your family and your farmers.
And do not give them solutions if they haven't asked. If someone wants to tell you, oh, this thing's really hard, don't give them helpful suggestions. That's not very helpful at all.
Or ask if they want suggestions, if they want problem solving, or if they just want someone to listen to.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I think we answered that one. Okay. Rightio. Differences or things you might not know about Katja and Gillian in preparation for meeting us in person. I actually added this one because I think it's very funny when I go and I meet people in person. I think the first comment I always get, which I'm sure you do as well, Gillian, is, how short we are in person.
Like, we're not ridiculously short. I think we're just normal size, but people have this anticipation that we're both really tall, and we're not. We're not. I'm not. Like, I'm what? I think I'm 5'4". Like, I think that's average height. But yeah, I'm not. I'm not tall at all. You're about the same height as me. Are you shorter than me? I can't even remember.
We're about the same height. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And yeah, it's, I don't know. What else would people want to know, like, in advance of running into us?
So I feel like sometimes I can be a bit awkward in my pauses because I like to think before I speak, and I don't think that's a quality that's very common anymore. And so I think sometimes someone will ask me a question and I'll take a moment and then I can then respond. And I think sometimes that is perceived as awkwardness, but I also think my brain operates in a very different way because I am dyslexic, and that is that I will sometimes, I've heard the answer, like I've heard the question, and I will ask a really unrelated question, but it actually probably either has context or I'm still working on problem solving or working out what it is that you've just asked me, and I just need a bit of time. So I might ask something completely random, or I might ask some more context before I can answer the question. And I think people find that a little bit strange in person, because when we come across on the podcast, we've already predetermined like what we're talking about. Like the articles have been sent in, the reels have been sent in, and I've already like pre-mapped it out. I haven't done that in general conversation.
Yeah, I never think about how I come across to other people, to be honest, because I don't give myself a lot of thought. I just exist.
Take me as I am.
It's not even that. It's just like, oh, I haven't given that any consideration because it just is not on my radar at all. It's not that I'm not interested in how people perceive me. It's just that I never perceive myself. So it's just like I just sort of, yeah, it's very interesting. I'm quite uncomfortable with this question, actually, Katja. It's making me think too hard.
So, AgFabs, when you have met Gillian and I in person, we'd love to hear whether these predictions are correct or what it is that you think it is like to meet us. We'd love to hear.
I guess one thing I will say is that I've had people like see me in public at something, an event or fucking down the shops, whatever. And then I come home and they've sent me a message and said, oh, I saw you at such and such. It's like, well, you can come and say hello. Like, not. And they're like, oh, no, I didn't want to disturb you. Or, you know, it's like, oh, nah. It's like, I'd look like I'm busy a lot of the times because I'm talking and waving my hands around and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not that, like, honest to God. Like, even when I'm on the clock for Livestock SA, like, I'm not unapproachable. Like, I'm just there. I'm just come and talk to me. It's fine.
We are both approachable. We would love for you to hear it. Sorry, we're both approachable. We would love to hear from you. Come up and see us. Don't send us a text afterwards. Actually come and interact with us. We're very lovely people.
And especially don't be an anonymous account and say, I saw you at the Cooper Pedy service station today. That is fucking weird, man.
We're going to be thinking you've got binoculars and you're tracking.
I have no idea. I have no idea who that person is, or because I like, obviously I was at the survey minding my own business in my own little dream world. I didn't see anyone, like, and then I get a random message saying, oh, I saw you at Cooper Pedy service station today from an anonymous account. I was like, that's fucking weird. Don't be weird.
Next question. What is the difference between a farm and a station? Are they interchangeable? A lot of the time, Katja alternates between them as she's referencing Katja and Gillian's properties.
Yeah, that's part of it. Like, technically there probably is a difference between a farm and a station. A farm is what you would be like the more intensive, smaller size where you might do mixed cropping or whatever, or, you know, And a station is like it just grazes livestock, and it's usually big and extensive. But even like a lot of people get really bent out of shape, like, oh, I'm a pastoralist, I'm not a farmer, I'm a grazier. I don't have a farm, I have a station. But that use of language and that exclusivity just sort of puts up more barriers than it's like it's not helpful. Like, because the average person, they don't like you're just a farmer. Like, there's even a whole movie called Just a Farmer. Like, at the end of the day,
McDougall.
Yeah, kids know people who work with livestock and grow stuff are farmers, and that gets carried through into adulthood a lot. Like, you don't say kids, like, you don't see kids pointing to pictures of people with cattle and going, oh, look, there's a grazier. There's the squatter mounted on his thoroughbred.
It'd be cool if they did.
Yeah. So we just say, like, and because like we have a station name, it's a Lamina station, and even like, because then I get it really sort of beside myself when I go down to the more closely settled areas of South Australia and I look at this block of land that's probably 50 whole acres and they calling themselves a station. I'm like, mate, what are you doing? Not even. But it's this like, yeah, we have to be a bit less precious about it. But yeah, there would be like a technical sort of station refers to extensive grazing only enterprises over a certain size, and farms would be smaller, often mixed livestock, cropping, other uses, those sorts of things. But yeah, use whatever word you want. And if people get upset, ignore them, because that's not, there's much better things to worry about than what people are calling where you live.
Wonderful. And we had another question came in, which we're going to round out tonight's episode with, and that is gumboot recommendations. Gillian, do you wear gumboots?
I've probably bought one pair of gumboots in my whole entire existence because they were on special at Kmart, and then they sat on my front veranda for so long they perished in the sun. So when we finally did get enough rain to require wearing gumboots, I think I wore them once to the horse yard and back again. They just disintegrated. So they're not something that I ever really had a use for. I do know, because this question came in from a farmer from down the southeast of South Australia, and in the wintertime especially, so they have really heavy dews. Even if they're not having a wet season, the dews are really heavy, and so they're out and about in the grass. And, I don't know if you wear gumboots, Katja, but the few occasions that I have, they're not comfortable. And I do see some very cute ones these days. They look like a boot, but they're actually all made out of rubber, and they come in funky colours and funky patterns and that sorts of things. So, but then my concern would be, well, then you've sort of, all the dew and everything's just still going to disappear into the top of your boot, and you'll end up with a boot full of water anyway, even if your boot is made out of rubber. So I would really like to hear from the AgFabs their recommendations for wet weather boots, work boots, whatever they use, because I did used to wear waterproof Ariats for a while.
Yeah, that's mostly
especially
what I live in.
Yeah, when I was doing the ambulance stuff as well, I had a pair of black waterproof Ariats because, yeah, you really need your shoes to be waterproof when you're mucking around with that sort of stuff. But then I found them to be too hot, and I spend my days in like sneakers or thongs and socks, because I'll take my shoes off at the front door and put my socks on there and go back at the chicken house. So I've got myself a pair of like Kmart Birkenstock soles. So I just like leave my socks on and then go out to the chicken house in my Kmart Birkenstock sandals, because I can't wear thongs normal, like rubbery thongs, because the prickles and the rocks just go straight through them.
Straight through.
So they have to have that hard surface on the bottom. But yeah, let me know your gumboot recommendations, price, comfortableness, availability, because there's no point in recommending like some really good brand that's like only sold in a small boutique in the south of France or something like.
Yeah. I don't believe in the short ones. I think if you're going to wear gumboots, you got to go knee high. When we have wet seasons, they are a necessity, whether we're down the paddock, in the yards, moving to the chicken shed, you've got to have a good pair of gumboots. I've tried a fair few over the years. I think if you're not in them all day, I think there's nothing wrong with like a Kmart or a Bunnings. Bunnings does gumboots as well. But if you are in them all day, every day, it's probably worth upgrading. So the people across the road.
We've got anyone in the dairy industry, because they spend a lot of time in gumboots.
We do.
One of our dairy listeners would tell us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll reach out to some of our dairy listeners and get some recommendations from them as well. The neighbours next door use Hunters, and I've previously had Ugg boots. So Ugg boot did I don't know if it was limited edition, but Ugg boot does gum boots with a amazing sheep insert to keep your foot warm. So if it is really, really cold, they do align with the sheep wool insert. But if you are going with that one, you do need to order a couple of sizes larger. Otherwise, your toes are going to rub on the top of the boot.
I just have terrible thoughts about how sweaty and stinky that would be.
Well, I assume you still wear socks with it. It's just like a more spongy.
I see a lot of people down the shops in short shorts and Ugg boots, and they don't have socks on. Guarantee it. And that in the mid, like, just rank. Can you imagine? So yeah. And also, what socks do you wear under gumboots? Because I learned the hard way. If you wear shorts and like gumboots, because often our rain is in the summer, so it's warm. And I've just got like normal size socks that only like come up past my ankle bone. If you don't wear socks that come up higher than your gumboots, they're going to chafe the shit out of the top of your legs.
Yeah, and you're going to blister up super bad. So I wear knee-high compression socks when I wear gumboots, and then if it's cold, I'll put a wool or a bamboo sock over the top of it.
See, that sounds too much like I'd want to stay inside all day. That's outrageous, Katja. 2 pairs of socks and gumboots.
Yeah. Because I'm between gumboot sizes, because I'm and a half, and a lot of gumboots only do full sizes, and so I do need that little bit of extra thickness in my sock, because I'll buy the bigger pair and then I'll put that thickness in the sock with the double layers anyway, to make sure I'm not slipping my heel all the time.
See, I could never move to a high rainfall area. I'd be profoundly uncomfortable the whole time. I really enjoy it. Like the desert, it's hot and it's dry, but at least I don't have to wear 2 pairs of socks and gumboots to go about my day. I can wear thongs and Kmart Birkenstocks.
But good thongs.
Yeah.
They're going to be
good,
thick.
Good, solid, sturdy thongs and a pair of socks, and I can go outside and do my jobs and feed the chickens and everything else and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. Mind you, I was wearing my trusty Birkenstocks the other day when I put up that snake reel on socials with the black snake sitting at my back gate. I was like, right, I need to go and breed more guinea fowl.
Let's sack the guinea fowl if they can't even keep one snake out of the house yard. Jesus, what's the point of having them? You need to go and get your goanna and release him into your house yard, and he'll get rid of the snake, I'll guarantee it.
I don't want the goanna.
It's keep it out of your chicken house to be fine. I've got a couple of 3-meter goannas that live around the house, and I haven't seen a snake here for quite some time. Not a live one, anyway.
There you go.
Except the one we had in the lounge room. That was a couple of years ago now, though. So, yeah. Goannas, they make good. See, that makes a good pet. Have a goanna for a pet.
I'll take a kookaburra anytime over a goanna.
Next time the kids say they want a lizard, I should just go and get the 3-meter goanna and put him into the lizard house.
Actually, did you film something in the house like that not long ago?
Yeah, that's the smaller one. We've got like a couple of big boys, and then there's this like medium-sized one, and he came into the house to see what was going on.
Oh my goodness, I think we should reshare that.
I looked up and because I was just sitting here where I record the podcast, sitting at my desk, I looked up and he was like...
How did he get in? Did someone leave the door open?
Yeah, the screen door was open a crack, and he obviously could smell something or the cool air or something, and he decided he was going to come and have a look around.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. With that, let's wrap up tonight's episode. So thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed it, please share it with someone else you know will like it, and leave us a 5-star review on the platform you listen to. It really does help other people find us, and we love to hear what you think.
All right. Bye, everybody. And don't forget, we will answer just about anything except questions that make me profoundly uncomfortable when I reflect on my own sense of self.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us on Absolutely Fabulous. If you've been listening along and enjoying all this content, which I assume you have, you've gotten this far, then you might also like Katja's other podcast. It's the Ultimate Farm Wife Podcast. And I'm going to play the intro for you right now.
Welcome to the Ultimate Farm Wife Podcast. On this channel, we're going to be discussing all things moving to the land and becoming integrated with a family farming operation. Whether you're moving to the farm for the first time or whether you're moving back into a family farming operation, we discuss the ins and the outs of all of it. So let's jump into today's episode.